The Startup of You, Adapt to the Future, Invest in Yourself, and Transform Your Career by Reid, Hoffman, and Ben Casnocha. Picture a city. Not just any city, but one that was once the absolute beating heart of the world. Back in the 1950s, this place was the ultimate symbol of progress, of everything good and possible. It was the land of dreams, packed with next-generation technology. Columnists actually called it the Silicon Valley of its time. The companies there were so powerful, so innovative, that they changed manufacturing forever. Landing a job there was like winning the lottery. It meant rock-solid security. It meant your employer would train you, mentor you, and guide you up a steady escalator of success. This city was such a crown jewel of America, so symbolic of our greatness, that people from around the world flocked there just to witness innovation at its very best. That city was Detroit. And then, like the Titanic colliding with an iceberg, it began to sink. The innovators got comfortable. The entrepreneurs forgot they were entrepreneurs. Instead of adapting to a changing world, they clung to old practices like a security blanket. Instead of listening to what people actually wanted, they just kept building what they'd always built. And the dream? It turned into a nightmare. Today, that same city leads the country in unemployment. A third of it, an area the size of San Francisco, sits completely deserted. It's a tragic story, right? But I'm not telling you this for a history lesson. I'm telling you this because the exact same forces of competition and change that brought down Detroit are knocking at your doorstep right now. They're threatening your career, no matter how safe it seems today. This is the world you're inheriting. A world where the old career escalator is jammed at every single level. Where the promise of lifetime employment has been replaced by a short-term contract that's always up for renewal. It's a world that can feel uncertain, even downright frightening. But what if I told you that this new world isn't actually a crisis, but an opportunity? What if the death of the old way of work is actually the birth of something far more exciting, far more fulfilling? That's the profound and powerful message inside The Startup of You, written by Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, and his co-author Ben Casnocha. This isn't just another boring career guide gathering dust on a shelf. It's a revolutionary playbook for life, drawing on the hard-won secrets of Silicon Valley's greatest entrepreneurs. It argues that to survive and thrive today, you need to stop thinking of yourself as an employee and start thinking of yourself as the founder of a very important company. You. By the end of our journey today, you'll have a completely new map for your life's work. You'll understand how to build a competitive advantage, how to plan for a future you can't possibly predict, and how to build a network that will carry you through any storm. You'll learn the secret mindset that allows you to see opportunity where everyone else only sees risk. So get comfortable, and let's begin. You've got a startup to run. So where do we begin? We begin with a simple, yet world-changing idea. Every single human being is born an entrepreneur. Now, that doesn't mean everyone should rush out and start a company. In fact, the authors are crystal clear that, for most people, that's probably a terrible idea. The stress? The risk? The long odds? Not for everyone. So what do they mean? They mean that the will to create, to adapt, to build something from nothing is coded deep within our DNA. Think about our ancestors in the caves. They had to invent their own lives. They were completely self-employed, finding their own food, creating their own rules. They were the founders of their own existence. But over centuries, as civilization grew, we forgot this. We were told we were just labor. We were trained to follow a path, not create one. For decades, that path was clear and steady. It was like an escalator. You graduated, snagged an entry-level job at a big, stable company, and if you worked hard and played by the rules, you were whisked upwards. More income, more security, more prestige with each step. And at the end, a comfortable retirement was waiting for you with a nice bow on top. But that escalator is broken now. It's completely jammed. Globalization and technology have permanently changed the game. Technology can automate jobs that once required years of training, from stockbrokers to paralegals. And if it doesn't automate your job, it allows someone from the other side of the world to compete for it. The old pact between employer and employee, lifelong loyalty in exchange for lifelong employment, is gone. Poof. This is the world of Detroit. A world where clinging to old ways of thinking leads to decline. But there's another model. A place that has reinvented itself decade after decade, creating the future while adapting to a changing globe. That place is Silicon Valley. And the principles that drive its most successful companies are the exact same principles you need to run the startup of your own life. The first and most important of these principles is a mindset. It's the idea of being in permanent beta. What does that mean? Tech companies often release software with a beta label. It means the product isn't finished. It's a work in progress, ready for the next batch of improvements. Google's Gmail was in beta for 5 years, even as millions of people used it every single day. The founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, ends every annual letter to his shareholders with the same line: "It's still day one." What he means is that Amazon is never finished. It's always evolving. For a great company, finished is an F word. And it should be an F word for you too. You are a work in progress. Your career isn't something you figure out once and then you're done. It's something you are constantly learning, adapting, and improving. Being in permanent beta is a lifelong commitment to personal growth. It's recognizing that you have bugs, that there's new development to do on yourself. It's the difference between having 20 years of experience and having 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. Think about the story of Netflix. When Reid Hastings started the company, it wasn't the streaming giant we know today. It was a DVD by mail service. But he was smart. He didn't call his company DVDs by mail. He chose a more expansive name, Netflix, because he knew the business would inevitably evolve. His first idea, paying per rental, didn't work, so he pivoted to a subscription model. Then he faced a new competitor, Blockbuster. They practically laughed him out of their office when he suggested a partnership. But Netflix kept iterating, perfecting its delivery, building a recommendation engine that felt like magic. And by 2010, as Netflix was raking in over $160 million in profit, Blockbuster, the giant that failed to adapt, filed for bankruptcy. But Netflix didn't stop there. They knew the next big wave was coming: streaming. So they jumped, shifting their entire focus away from the profitable DVD business to the uncertain future of the internet. They were in permanent beta, always testing, always learning, always adapting. So how do you apply this mindset? How do you, the founder of You Incorporated, figure out what your business should even be? It starts with developing your competitive advantage. In a crowded world, you have to be able to answer the question, what makes you so special? Why should someone hire you, or partner with you, or invest in you, over all the other talented people out there? The authors say your competitive advantage comes from the interplay of 3 ever-changing forces, like 3 pieces of a puzzle. The first piece is your assets. These are what you have right now. There are hard assets, like the money in your bank account, which give you a cushion to take risks. But way more important are your soft assets: the knowledge in your brain, the skills you've mastered, the professional connections you've built, and your reputation. These intangibles are what truly matter. And often, your greatest strength comes from combining them in a unique way. For example, being bilingual is an asset. But being bilingual in Japanese and having experience in the tech industry, that's a unique combination that gives you a powerful edge. The second puzzle piece is your aspirations and values. These are your deepest wishes, your vision for the future, the things that truly matter to you. This isn't about finding your one true self. The authors argue that your identity isn't something you find. It's something that emerges. It's shaped by your actions and experiences. But you need a pole star, a direction to orient yourself. Why? Because when you're doing work you genuinely care about, you work harder and better. The person driven by passion will always outlast the person motivated only by a paycheck. And the third, absolutely crucial piece is market realities. This is the world as it actually is. It doesn't matter how great your assets are, or how passionate your aspirations are, if no one is willing to pay you for them. A smart entrepreneur doesn't just build a cool product. They build a cool product that customers actually want and need. You have to ask, who are the people, the bosses, the clients, the partners, who will pay for your time? What do they need? And can you offer it better than the competition? Being in a growing market, riding a big wave, is one of the most powerful career strategies there is. Your competitive advantage lies where these three pieces overlap. You are at your most powerful when you're using your unique assets to pursue your aspirations in a way that the market values. This isn't something you figure out once and forget about. These pieces are always changing, and so the way they fit together is always changing too. Once you have a hypothesis about your competitive advantage, you need a plan, but not the kind of plan you've been taught. The old way is to set a 10-year goal and work backward. That works fine in a stable world, but our world is a chaotic ocean, not a calm lake. So entrepreneurs use something called ABZ planning. Plan A is what you're doing right now. It's your current job, your current implementation of your competitive advantage. Within Plan A, you are constantly iterating, making small adjustments as you learn. You're in almost ready aim, fire mode. You learn by doing. Action is what generates lessons. You don't figure out if you're good at something by thinking about it. You figure it out by trying it. But what happens when Plan A isn't working, or when you stumble upon a new opportunity that's even better? That's when you pivot to Plan BA. Pivot isn't a random jump. It's a change in direction based on what you've learned. It's moving into an adjacent space, something different, but related. Think of Flickr. It didn't start as a photo-sharing site. It started as an online multiplayer game called Game Never Ending. But the founders noticed that one small feature, the ability for players to share photos, was becoming incredibly popular, even more popular than the game itself. So they faced a choice: stick with their original plan or pivot. They made the tough call to pivot, focusing all their energy on the photo application. That Plan B became the Flickr we know, a company that was eventually acquired by Yahoo. It was an adaptive plan, born from listening to reality. The best way to explore a potential Plan B is to start it on the side. Keep your day job, but start learning a new skill at night. Start building relationships in a different industry. Make small, reversible bets that minimize the cost of failure. This brings us to Plan Z. Plan Z is your lifeboat. It's your fallback position if everything goes completely wrong. What is the certain, reliable plan that will keep you in the game? Maybe it's moving back in with your parents for a few months. Maybe it's taking a simple job to pay the bills while you regroup. It's not a long-term destination. It's what keeps you afloat while you prepare to launch a brand new Plan A. And here's the secret. The certainty of Plan Z is what gives you the confidence to take intelligent risks with your Plans A and B. This idea of risk is crucial. Many people think the path to a stable career is to avoid all risk. The authors argue that in our changing world, this is ironically one of the riskiest things you can do. Think of a forest. A forest that never has small fires seems safe, right? But all the dry underbrush builds up. When a fire finally does start, it becomes a massive, uncontrollable catastrophe. But a forest that has regular, small, controlled burns is resilient. The underbrush is cleared away, making it invulnerable to a larger fire. Your career is the same. A job that seems perfectly stable, with no changes, no challenges, no volatility, is actually making you fragile. You're not building the resilience to handle a major shock, like a layoff or an industry disruption. But a career with some short-term volatility, taking on new projects, freelancing on the side, learning new skills, is like those small fires. It makes you stronger, more adaptable, and ultimately, more secure in the long run. You have to inoculate yourself against big risks by taking on small, intelligent ones. If you don't find risk, risk will find you. Now, everything we've talked about so far, your competitive advantage, your adaptive plans, your relationship with risk, can feel like a solo journey. But the greatest entrepreneurs know a profound truth. Nothing important is ever done alone. This is where the authors introduce one of their most powerful ideas, I to the we, or we. It's the understanding that your individual power is raised exponentially by the help of a team. We live in a culture obsessed with the myth of the self-made hero. But if you study any successful person, you'll find they operate within a web of support. Your career success depends on both your individual capabilities and your network's ability to magnify them. And when we say network, we're not talking about slimy transactional networking, collecting business cards, and only calling people when you need something. We're talking about building genuine, lasting relationships. The golden rule is simple. Help other people first. Don't keep score. Shift your mindset from, what's in it for me, to what's in it for us. The book breaks down your professional network into different types of relationships. First, you have your professional allies. These are the 8 to 10 people you consult regularly for advice, who you trust deeply, and who you would proactively collaborate with on opportunities. You defend them, and they defend you. An alliance isn't built overnight. It's forged over time through volleys of communication and cooperation that build trust. Then, you have your weak ties and acquaintances. These are the people you're friendly with but don't know as well. Old classmates, colleagues in other departments, people you meet at conferences. And here's a fascinating insight from sociology. It's often your weak ties, not your close friends, who lead you to your best opportunities. Why? Because your close friends are usually in the same world as you. They know the same people and hear the same information. There's redundancy. But your weak ties act as bridges to other worlds. They are exposed to different people, different ideas, and different opportunities that you would never have heard about otherwise. But your network doesn't stop with the people you know directly. Those are your first-degree connections. Your friends have friends you don't know, your second-degree connections. And those friends have friends, your third-degree connections. The famous 6 degrees of separation theory is true, but in the professional world, what really matters are those first 3 degrees. Why? Because you can reach these people through a trusted introduction. With just 100 direct connections on a platform like LinkedIn, your extended network can easily reach over 1 million professionals. Your network is always bigger and more powerful than you think. This network isn't just for finding jobs. It is your single greatest source of network intelligence. In a world where knowledge is constantly changing, you can't possibly know everything yourself, but you can know people who do. Who you know is what you know. Think of your network like a system of sensors. One sensor alone can't tell you much, but by pulling information from many different sensors, domain experts, people who know you well, and just plain smart people, you can synthesize a rich, nuanced picture of reality that allows you to make better decisions. You can ask targeted questions to specific people, or cast a wide net and pose a question to your entire network. You learn what skills are in demand, how to navigate office politics, and how to spot a good opportunity. And spotting those opportunities is the final piece of the puzzle. The authors call them breakout opportunities, those moments that can rocket your career forward, just like the TV show ER did for George Clooney after 12 years of struggle. These opportunities rarely come wrapped in a pretty package. You have to find them. And how do you do that? First, you stay curious. Entrepreneurs see opportunity where others see problems, because they are always asking why. Second, you court serendipity. You can't plan for luck, but you can put yourself in its path. Serendipity happens when you are in motion. When you do things, you stir the pot and create the possibility for random people, ideas, and places to collide in new and wonderful ways. Go to that conference. Say yes to that dinner party where you don't know anyone. As one entrepreneur says, the best way to ensure that lucky things happen is to make sure a lot of things happen. And finally, you hustle. Hustle is what you do when your back is against the wall. its resourcefulness, its resilience. It's the story of the founders of Airbnb. When they were broke and about to give up, what did they do? They designed and sold presidential-themed cereal boxes, Obama O's and Captain McCain's, to keep their dream alive. It's the story of Pandora, the internet radio company that was on the verge of bankruptcy for nearly a decade, pitching over 300 venture capitalists before finally getting funded. That is the essence of the startup of you. It's a continuous loop. You develop a competitive advantage, create an adaptive plan, build a powerful network, and then use that network to find breakout opportunities, all while taking intelligent risks. You are always in motion, always learning, always growing. You are forever in beta. As we wrap up our deep dive into the startup of you, I want to take a moment to reflect on what makes this book so enduringly powerful, especially for someone your age, standing at the very beginning of their professional life. The single most important lesson, the one I hope stays with you long after you finish listening, is the shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, encapsulated in that beautiful phrase, permanent beta. Your education, up until this point, has likely been about getting the right answer. It's about finishing assignments, passing tests, and graduating. It's a world of endpoints. But life, and especially your career, is not a test with a final grade. It's a journey with no finish line. Embracing the idea that you are a work in progress is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate source of strength. It gives you permission to be imperfect, to experiment, to fail, and to learn from those failures. It frees you from the crippling pressure of having to have it all figured out right now. The second profound idea is the concept of I Way. Our culture celebrates the lone genius, the solo hero. But reality is a team sport. The book gently but firmly reminds us that our success is inextricably linked to the success of those around us. Building a network is not about what you can get. It's about what you can give. It's about recognizing that helping someone else on their journey is one of the best ways to advance your own. This transforms networking from a selfish chore into a joyful act of collaboration and mutual support. It is, in its own way, a roadmap for a more generous and connected life. So how can you start applying these ideas today, right now? It doesn't require a grand plan. Remember, it's about small, iterative steps. First, take 10 minutes and write down your Plan Z. What is your absolute, no questions asked safety net? Just knowing it exists will give you the courage to be bolder with your Plan A. Second, this week, schedule one coffee or a short call with a weak tie. Someone from a past summer job, a friend of a friend, or a person you met briefly at an event. Don't ask for anything. Just ask them what they're working on and what they're excited about. Be curious. You will be amazed at what you learn. And third, find one small way to help someone in your network. It could be as simple as sending an article you think they'd find interesting, or introducing two people you know who might benefit from meeting each other. Start the cycle of giving without expecting anything in return. That was a summary of The Startup of You by Reid Hoffman and Ben Casnocha. We've certainly covered the major landmarks of this incredible book today. But I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is found when you walk the path yourself. The true magic happens in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or a simple phrase connects with you in a way you didn't expect. This journey we've taken is designed to help you decide if this book deserves your time. If anything we've discussed today has sparked something within you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and the world of work. A link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.